In the stillness of silence, fortunes are made and fates are saved. My friends, let me ask you this. Have you ever destroyed an opportunity with a careless word? Have you ever lost an ally with a reckless opinion? The spoken word is powerful, but the unspoken word even more so. The wisest minds in history knew this truth. Silence is not weakness, it is discipline. It is not retreat, it is strategy. Silence, when used rightly, can be your greatest protection and your greatest advantage. Silence in moments of anger is one of the most powerful expressions of self-control a person can demonstrate. When emotions rise, the mind often clouds. In such moments, it's easy to say things that are harsh, unfiltered, and destructive. Words that cannot be unsaid and wounds that cannot be undone. Anger shortens the gap between thought and speech, removing the protective barrier of reason. That's when damage is most likely to happen, not just to others, but to your own goals, relationships, and reputation. Choosing silence when provoked or frustrated is not a sign of weakness. It is a profound act of strength. It reflects mastery over your emotional state. While others may explode or lash out, the person who remains calm and measured rises above the chaos. That silence gives room for reflection. It allows your rational mind to return to the driver's seat, where it belongs. In that space, you reclaim power over the situation and over yourself. This form of restraint also builds respect. Others recognize and admire the discipline it takes to pause and remain composed under pressure. In professional and personal relationships, it fosters trust. People feel safer with someone who doesn't act impulsively or speak with venom when things go wrong. In the long run, mastering silence in the face of anger helps protect your peace and your future. It preserves bridges that reckless words might burn. It creates space for wiser actions and better outcomes. And most importantly, it places you in control, not of others, but of yourself. That kind of control is the foundation of true power, and it's one of the clearest signs of maturity and leadership. When you can choose silence over reaction, you've already won the moment. Silence is often misunderstood as passivity or weakness, when in truth it is one of the most strategic tools a person can use. In challenging situations, whether it's a heated debate, a public confrontation, or a tense negotiation, those who stay silent often hold the greatest influence. Speaking impulsively can reveal too much, commit you to a position prematurely, or escalate conflict unnecessarily. Silence, on the other hand, keeps others guessing. It preserves your advantage and gives you time to assess the situation with clarity. In any competitive or high-stakes environment, revealing too much too soon can undermine your position. The moment you speak, you give others data, your emotions, intentions, and level of understanding. But silence keeps your hand hidden. It allows you to observe more than you reveal. Others will fill the space you leave, and in doing so, they may expose their motives or weaknesses. This is how silence shifts the power dynamic. You are not retreating. You are studying, preparing, and positioning yourself for a smarter move or act. Moreover, silence helps avoid unnecessary conflict. When confronted by ignorance or provocation, reacting loudly or emotionally can make you look defensive or unstable. But remaining quiet shows that you are in control, unmoved by attempts to draw you into drama. In this way, silence acts as a shield. It protects your energy, your focus, and your dignity. People who use silence wisely are often seen as thoughtful, mysterious, and strong. They speak when it matters and hold their tongue when it serves them better. This is not silence out of fear. It is silence with purpose. It is the art of restraint applied like a blade, precise, deliberate, and effective. That kind of silence doesn't weaken your presence. It amplifies your power. Speaking without having all the facts is like building a house on sand. unstable, risky, and bound to collapse. In a world driven by fast reactions and instant opinions, the temptation to respond quickly can be strong. But wisdom lies in restraint. When you speak before you fully understand a situation, you expose yourself to error, misjudgment, and sometimes even embarrassment. Your words, once released, cannot be taken back. They can damage reputations, mislead others, or create unnecessary conflict, all because you didn't take the time to gather complete information. Silence in moments of uncertainty is not ignorance. It's intelligence in action. It's the decision to pause, observe, investigate, and reflect before forming an opinion or giving advice. This habit of waiting until you know what you're talking about builds your credibility. People trust those who speak with precision and clarity, not those who guess or assume. In business, leadership, or personal relationships, your words carry more weight when they are backed by knowledge. Silence also gives you the advantage of learning. While others are busy talking, you are listening, noticing, absorbing. That information becomes power. It gives you the tools to respond with intention rather than impulse. It prepares you to act in a way that is not just reactive, but strategic. Furthermore, when you refrain from speaking without the full picture, you avoid becoming part of misinformation or gossip. You maintain integrity, and people begin to see you as someone who doesn't rush to judgment. That kind of reputation sets you apart. In a noisy world, thoughtful silence is rare and powerful. It allows your words, when you do speak, to carry truth, depth, and impact. Waiting for the facts before speaking isn't hesitation, it's mastery of judgment. And that kind of mastery earns respect. Trust is one of the most valuable currencies in human relationships, and it is often built or broken through how we handle silence. When someone shares something in confidence, a personal struggle, a sensitive plan, or a piece of private information, they are not just giving you words, they are offering you a piece of their vulnerability. How you respond to that offering determines the strength of the bond between you. If you protect that trust through silence, you build a foundation of integrity and loyalty. If you violate it through careless words or casual gossip, you damage not only the relationship, but your own reputation. Discretion is a form of respect. When you choose to remain silent about what someone has entrusted to you, you show that you value them and that you honor the responsibility that comes with knowing something others don't. People naturally gravitate toward those who can be trusted to hold their confidences without the fear of exposure or betrayal. That kind of reliability is rare, and it is powerful. Moreover, the same principle applies when it comes to your own goals and decisions. Announcing your plans prematurely can invite criticism, doubt, or interference. There is great value in keeping certain things private while they are still taking shape. Silence becomes a kind of protection, allowing your ideas to grow stronger before they are exposed to the world. Ultimately, silence in matters of trust is a reflection of character. It shows maturity, discipline, and emotional intelligence. It demonstrates that your loyalty is not situational, it is consistent. And in a world where many speak too soon or say too much, being someone who knows when not to speak sets you apart. That kind of silence doesn't make you invisible, it makes you dependable and unforgettable. In any interaction, the person who listens more than they speak often holds the most power. Silence, when used intentionally, creates space for deeper understanding, connection, and insight. While many rush to speak to prove their knowledge or assert their opinions, the wise know that true influence is built through presence and attention. By staying silent and truly listening, you allow others to reveal not just their words, but their motives, emotions, and beliefs. You learn not only what is being said, but what is being felt. And that gives you a tremendous advantage in communication. People feel valued when they are heard. When you offer your full attention without interrupting or redirecting the conversation to yourself, you build trust and rapport. That silence, filled with focused listening, becomes a gift to the speaker. It tells them you matter. Your voice is important. And that, in turn, increases their openness and respect for you. Listening more also allows you to gather valuable information. You pick up on subtleties others miss. You notice patterns, inconsistencies, and emotional cues. All of this helps you respond more wisely and effectively when you do choose to speak. Instead of reacting with emotion or assumption, you respond with insight and clarity. Remaining silent in the presence of others doesn't diminish your presence, it enhances it. You become known not for empty words, but for meaningful ones. People begin to associate you with thoughtfulness and discernment. And when you finally speak, your words carry greater impact because they are rare, intentional, and informed. In leadership, relationships, and life, being a great listener sets you apart. It's not about being passive, it's about being purposeful. And in a noisy world, the one who listens deeply will always rise quietly and powerfully to the top. In moments of provocation, silence is one of the most powerful choices you can make. When someone tries to push your buttons, insult you, or bait you into a reaction, their true goal is often control, not communication. If you respond with anger or defensiveness, you hand them exactly what they want, power over your emotions. But when you remain silent, composed, and unmoved, you deny them that control. Your silence becomes a boundary, an unspoken statement that says, "You do not have authority over my state of mind." People often confuse reacting with strength, but in reality, it's restraint that reveals true power. Anyone can shout back when insulted. Anyone can fight fire with fire. But the person who can remain calm and collected in the face of disrespect shows a depth of self-mastery that few possess. This doesn't mean you accept mistreatment. It means you choose your response on your terms, not theirs. And that shift in control can change the outcome of any interaction. When you refuse to react to provocation, you often disarm the aggressor. Without your reaction to feed on, their energy runs out. In many cases, their behavior is exposed for what it truly is: desperate, insecure, or manipulative. Your silence, by contrast, radiates confidence and control. Silence also gives you the chance to respond later with clarity and intention, rather than from a place of emotional turbulence. It prevents escalation, protects your image, and keeps you grounded. In personal relationships, professional environments, or public life, the ability to remain silent under pressure is a hallmark of emotional intelligence. Choosing not to react is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is strength under control. And often, it is the very thing that protects your dignity while allowing others to reveal their own.